Give it a second to load. Cool. All right, we are live. Hey guys, welcome to a new episode of the Late Night Lake Show podcast. It is your host, Ricky. I am joined tonight by none other than Lakers Nation frontman, Trevor Lane. Trevor, how are we doing, brother? I know that's a loaded question.
Well, on a 3-10 season, yeah, it's not great in that regard, but they won their last game, and now we're in this weird stretch where there's no games for 4 days. So at least they won to send us into this long break, and we don't have to just sulk for 4 or 5 days or whatever it is. So about as well as can be expected at this point in the season, given the record right now.
No, that is so true. I almost feel like we got a vacation, and it's one of those things like, regular work life. You come off of a great presentation on a Thursday, and you're heading into a holiday weekend. Even though the rest of the year was just awful, it's great to just feel good and then take a break from future pain coming up. So, um, appreciate you coming on, bro. Real quick before we get into things with Trevor Lane tonight, wanted to let you guys know that the Late Night Lake Show podcast has picked up a new sponsor, and that sponsor is Manscaped. Support for LNLS is brought to you by Manscaped. Manscaped is the best in below-the-waist grooming. Their products are precision engineered for all of your grooming needs. Join over 4 million people worldwide who trust Manscaped. Use our promo code LATENIGHT20 for 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com. Somebody is going to take that and run with it from our team and just make some really, really borderline inappropriate commercials. But it's all good. It's all good. Use it wisely, late night family. Let's get into it, T. So, to state the obvious, it's been a rough go. The Lakers are 3-10, and I was thinking back, Trevor, the last time we talked, right, was before the season, and actually we had sent out to you a Late Night Lake Show season preview insiders poll. We asked about 12 questions, predicting how the Lakers season would go. The first two questions on that poll, question number one was, how confident are you that the Lakers are going to have a more successful season than they did last year? And then question number two was predict the Lakers total wins in their first 10 games. Real quick, do you remember what you said for total wins, what your total win prediction was?
I don't remember. I'm guessing maybe I said 5 or something like that. That's my guess. I don't recall what I put.
Yeah, I think everybody was feeling our top response was 4, and even that apparently was way too optimistic out there. Our second highest response was 5, but it's safe to say that it's been a disappointing start for our Lakers. When we look back at this, first 13 games and try to sift through what's bad and what's good, I guess real quick, what stands out to you most as the contributing factors of why our Lakers team is out to such a slow start?
I mean, I think there's a number of different factors that have led to this team being at the point they're in right now. I mean, we said over the summer that the roster wasn't very well balanced, and I think that's been a problem here. I think you've had problems in terms of the shooting. Obviously, that's been a concern. We knew it was going to be bad, but the first few games of the season, it was beyond bad. It was unsustainably bad shooting the basketball. And so that's something that you have to consider. And then on top of that, you've got individuals that are not living up to expectations in terms of the way that they're performing. You've got guys who are just like Damian Jones and Kendrick Nunn, who have been essentially unplayable. So when you've got not only guys not quite pulling their weight, but you also have this shooting issue on top of everything else that you've got just in terms of overall talent, it adds up to the situation that the Lakers are in currently. And then let's not forget, the way this roster is built, LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, all three of them essentially have to be demigods, right? I mean, they've got to be absolutely top tier, near MVP caliber in order for this type of roster build to work. And they, for various reasons, haven't been that. And so again, kind of add all of that up, and that's how you get to this point here.
I love that you said that the 3-point shooting has been unsustainably horrible, right?
Yeah.
Like it was we were on a very, very dark path back there. I think the Lakers over their last what 6 games are about 14th in 3-point shooting. So they're moving their way back to the middle of the pack. But I mean, the runway for having a good 3-point shooting team. It's kind of we have a very small margin for error just with the
Yes.
overall roster that we have right now. But let's start with the big dogs, right? There's a lot of other pieces that need to fall into place, but it kind of starts at the top. So I wanted to kind of kick off our conversation taking a look at Mr. LeBron James. um we are seeing definitely the wear of the tires and the results of 20 years and probably about 24 years of basketball seasons under his belt. LeBron, for anyone else's standards, probably except for 7 to 8 people on this planet, is having a impactful, successful basketball season. But when you compare it to how LeBron James is looked at as far as what his expectations are for his career, he is definitely starting to regress. And now LeBron is out with a left adductor strain, and it's kind of that era now. Since Anthony Davis came to the Lakers, it's been all about the changing of the guards. AD, option A, LeBron passing the torch, right? We kind of wanted that 2 years ago, didn't get it. Last year, didn't get it. And now it almost feels like we're kind of getting it just out of LeBron's wear and tear. So, Trevor, are you ready to say that LeBron James has entered into his Robin era of his career?
No, I'm not, and the reason why I'm not, and the reason why I'm not ready to just dismiss LeBron is you look at his stats so far. You're right. Look, the shooting percentages are down. The rebounds are just fine. They're right in line. Same thing with assists, right in line with what you'd usually get out of him. Watching him on the floor, he's looked a little bit sluggish, only averaging 25 points per game when he averaged 30 last season. 3-point percentage has dropped significantly. He's down 24%, down to 24% from there, down from 52% the season before shooting from the field down to 46%. So all of those things can be alarming. He has had a little bit of trouble finishing at the rim. So I'm not saying that the decline isn't happening, but there's enough other stuff going on around LeBron in terms of the illness and the injuries that he's been dealing with, the foot injury and now the adductor strain, which you mentioned, that it leaves that possibility out there that this isn't 100% father time, that this could be potentially other stuff that was getting to him
Mm.
and creating this drastic of a drop. I'm not saying he's going to be 30-year-old LeBron again or anything like that. We're not going to see that guy again. But I don't know if you can say this is that huge drop until we're 30, 40 games into the season. If his numbers continue to be this low in terms of his shooting percentages, which is not what I would expect, then we could say, okay, father time is finally starting to catch up with LeBron. But given the other factors that he's dealing with, I don't think we can say that definitively just yet.
That's such a fair point. It's early,
Yeah.
right? There LeBron deserves the benefit of a ramp up period, 20 seasons in. But I think people have been trying to put the nail in the coffin on his reign and dominance for about 8 years now, and he keeps
Forever.
on ticking. So, for just obviously the fate of our franchise, you hope that LeBron continues to, if he maintains 25 points for the rest of his Lakers career, I don't think anybody in the building at the end of the day could say that there was any drop off period in LeBron, right? We, as a Kobe stan, right? There was clearly a time where Kobe was a shell of himself. I don't know if we're ever going to get to the time where we see shell of himself LeBron, right? I think there's other
Mhm.
ways that just by his size and his basketball IQ, he'll forever impact the game. Like you said, his rebounds are up from from his career norm. So I think he'll always find ways where you look around and you look at that stat line and you're like, I'm sorry, LeBron. That was a good game. Like,
Right.
what am I talking about, right? So for our sake, let's hope that he can continue to do that. Real quick on the LeBron James topic, obviously, with LeBron comes his very dedicated and loyal fan base that is frustrated, to say the least, with
Mhm.
the Lakers' lack of movement and bringing in pieces to help LeBron extend his reign and championship window. Um, Trevor, just from your seat in your home and your Laker fandom, right?
Mhm.
Do you believe that the Lakers are currently doing a disservice to LeBron by not making a trade at this point in the season? Or do you understand this wait and see approach that they're trying to do before evaluating if a trade is necessary or not? I mean, we saw LeBron go on the record, right, and say, I don't give a damn about picks. I think Rob don't give a damn about picks, right?
Mhm.
But as these games and losses kind of pile on, do you think this is kind of working backwards in helping LeBron and the
Yeah,
Lakers?
I mean, when I look at the situation, I think it really comes down to one very key thing in terms of, are the Lakers doing a disservice to LeBron? Should they be doing something here? It's, what was the conversation when LeBron signed that extension? If the conversation was, LeBron, sign this extension and we will go all in, we'll do whatever it takes to help you win right now, then okay, then that's what you agreed to. And that's what you promised, one of the greatest of all time. And if that's the case, then you have to do it. You've got to follow up. You've presented yourself as an organization that is player friendly, that is superstar friendly for decades now. You can't go back on that at this moment and try to change everything up on LeBron, move the goalpost and say, well, you know what? Actually, this team isn't quite good enough for us to go all in. So we're going to ask you to punt this season and wait until next summer. If the conversation, though, was, LeBron, if the right opportunity shows up, we will go all in, but we need you to trust us, to be patient and wait and understand that it might come at the expense of the season, and he still signed the extension, then again, that's a different conversation. And if that's what was had, then I think the Lakers are okay in taking the wait and see approach. They've got a very specific parameters in terms of what they're trying to do. They're trying to be careful. They've got one shot at moving both of those picks, 2027 and 2029. So I understand that. But if the decision is ultimately made to punt the season, right, to not make any kind of a move and kick the can down the road to next summer, and that's not what you agreed to with LeBron last summer, then I think you're opening up a whole new can of worms where maybe we're talking about trade requests and things like that with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I don't think they want to go down that path. But again, it all comes back to, what was it that you agreed to that got LeBron to sign that extension?
Yeah. Yep. And that's the grown folk behind closed door
Yeah.
conversation, that, if everybody is adults in the room, you'll never know which way that conversation went as far as promises or not promises. But the proof will be in the pudding if we get, 10, 15 games down the road and we start getting passive aggressive LeBron.
Mm-hmm.
We start hearing a little bit more from Rich Paul, and, hearing about other key Laker role players would be interested in seeing those picks getting flipped. I'd say we haven't started seeing leaks yet. I'm just saying that I heard some behind the walls dropping, and so we might need to check on that in a little bit. I think LeBron. Everybody's talked about LeBron kind of like, just, I'm in California.
Right.
Life is good. Business is good. I'm getting old. The kids are in school type of deal. And that possibly working in the Lakers' favor. But this entire time, right, we still have what I think is inevitable, semi-inevitable, realization that when Bronny gets drafted, LeBron is serious about teaming up with him. So, that'd be cool. I would just say, let's kind of get to that point in LeBron James'
Yeah.
career where we could all wave goodbye to him and wish him great for his season or two, with the new team, versus the reality of, if we get to Clutch Sports talking about trade requests, that is going to do extended damage
Mm-hmm.
beyond just losing LeBron and AD and getting whatever draft capital coming back. I think that's when you start getting the eyes from around the league, and you probably already do a little bit, from agents and even players, right? And saying like, damn, y'all really jagged a Anthony Davis, LeBron James duo. And
Yeah.
of course, it'll just be nitpicking at every single microtransaction that has happened along the way. So let's hope that's not the case. So
Absolutely.
we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, we're gonna switch gears. We're gonna talk about Anthony Davis and how he has been carrying the Lakers on his back kind of the whole season. I don't know, depending on who you ask, you'll get a different response about AD's year. Late Night Lake Show. We'll be right back. All right, I'm just gonna hop back in. That was for the podcast. Cool.
Okay. Yep.
All right. Real quick, Trevor. Where do we stand with the Lakers' new statement jerseys? I feel like a lot of people hate them. There's a lot of folks say that it feels a little incomplete. Well, but the Lakers are 1-0 in them. So I don't know where do you fall with the Lakers?
Okay,
white
so
and purple
the statement. So you mean is that the I always lose track of which one's which. The city edition, right? Is the one with the that just says Los Angeles across it?
Oh, okay, yeah.
Is
That's
that
the
one?
city edition.
It's
You're
the
right.
white
You're right.
one.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, they're 1-0. Okay, that's the one they were recently. Yeah, that I don't hate it, but it's not my favorite either. Like, and look, the bar is set super high. In my mind, the Black Mamba one is the greatest jersey ever. So I'm not, that set the bar so high. Nothing else is ever gonna, reach that one to me. But
Right.
I think it's just I don't know. I'm left wanting more from this year's jersey. It's not like I dislike it. If I was, if I came across it on a discount sale somewhere, whatever, I wouldn't say no and refuse to wear it. It's not that
Right.
bad, but I also don't know if it's one I'm going to run out and drop money on or anything like that. And I thought the rationale behind it, they all have this very deep meaning behind
Right. The
all the
story.
symbolism and stuff and everything. And it was that it was supposed to reflect the endless possibilities of a blank page. And I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, you made a plain blank jersey, but isn't that kind of what the Lakers did to their championship roster? They took this roster that was vibrant and full of all this
Right.
potential and tore it down into what we've got now. And I'm like, I don't know. Maybe other people didn't react the same way, but it just reminded me of how bare the roster is currently compared to how it used to be. So I didn't like that.
That's hilarious. I did not know that was the story behind this year's City Edition jerseys, the blank page.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. So who knows? I think they're switching jerseys representation soon. So I don't know. I think this era of alternate statement and City Edition jerseys, it's ran its course. I don't know if we need new artists or it's just, hey, this one kind of looked like the lesser version of the old school Lakers Christmas jerseys that was white with the purple writing, but that purple writing was in Christmas font, and who don't love Christmas font?
That's right.
Late Night Lake Show, we're back with Trevor Lane of Lakers Nation. Let's talk about Anthony Marshawn Davis Jr. Before the break, like I said, depending on who you ask, you will get a different response on how AD's season is going. He got banged up earlier in the year, very early in the year, sat out a game, but back injuries be damned. Anthony Davis is living as the Lakers big man, and he's living kind of feasting in the post. 80 is scoring 68% of his points in the paint this year. That is a career high. There's the second highest, right, Trevor? It's 65%. That was all the way back in his rookie year. I think he's also back to being a defensive freak of nature, doing what he has to do, swallowing up shot attempts around the rim and really stepping out and defending. Kind of a little bit saving everybody's asses out there on defense. Yep. Now, Darvin Ham has played him as the primary big on the court, and I think that's kind of not by original design. It seems like it seems like Damon Jones has kind of been asked, and Thomas Bryant has been kind of hurt. So this is the Anthony Davis that we're sitting at right now. Where do you grade 80's performance so far, Trevor? And then following up after that, do you think 80 playing the 5 as the Lakers' primary big is sustainable over an 82 game season?
Yeah, so AD, I mean, I'd probably give him a B+ so far. We know there's another level he can get to, and we saw it in 2020. But defensively, he's been massive for the team, and it's hard to speak negatively of him after the last game we saw, he dropped 37 and 18, and he was an absolute monster. But that being said, we've also seen games where he's disappeared in the second half, where teams have and part of that's on the Lakers, teams have done what they could to scheme him out. defensively. The Lakers haven't done a very good job adjusting to that. And part of that, too, is just AD's got to be more aggressive and say, give me the ball and get out of my
Right.
way. But, heading into this season, Darvin Ham said, I want AD to take more threes than ever before. The opposite has happened. He's taking less threes than he ever has since he started shooting threes. I'm talking about going all the way back to the 2014-2015 season. So he's almost completely eliminated the three-point shot from his arsenal. We're not seeing him take a lot of mid-range shots. And like you said, that's allowed him to do a lot more scoring at the rim, which
Right.
maybe that's a good thing. But part of what made Anthony Davis was that he had these, guard skills in a big man's body. He could step out and he could shoot jumpers over you if you tried to pack the paint against him. That part of his game going away is a bit of a concern. And that's why I'm not going to give him an A here or anything like that. Can he be the center sustainably moving forward? He's played, I believe it's 100%. If not, it's probably 95% of his minutes at the center
Yeah.
position. And I think, like you said, I don't think that was necessarily by design. I think they went out, they got Damian Jones, they got Thomas Bryant with the plan of, we're going to at least shift AD back to the 4 most of the time, right? He still, even during the championship season when they had JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard, he still played a decent amount of minutes at center. It just wasn't where he started, and you had other guys who could bear that burden. He's playing the center right now out of necessity. And I think ultimately this is why, the word was that the Lakers wanted to wait and kind of see what happens when Thomas Bryant comes back before they figure out, as well as Dennis Schroeder, before they figure out what they're going to do on the trade front, free agency, all that sort of stuff. I think it's because if Thomas Bryant comes back and he's not it, and Damian Jones has had a chance and he's not it, then that helps inform your decisions out there on the market. Then maybe you do need to go find another big, because I don't think it's ideal to have AD playing all of his minutes at center like this. I don't think it's necessarily sustainable. Crunch time, sure. Maybe even the bulk of his minutes, like 55-45 split, sure. Right. But 100%, I think it's asking too much.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, I mean, as happy as I am to see that AD kind of by being the sole big out there doing more in the paint, that brings a smile to my face, because like I said, every time he takes an outside jumper / 3-point shot, it takes 15 minutes off of my life. So AD, I think we're hearing, right, that from his own mouth, that he would prefer to be a 4. But so I think that's a great point that you bring up about the Lakers kind of wanting to finish their test, to get a complete sample size of what this complete roster looks like before shaking it up. It almost feels like that's the theme of the Lakers the last few seasons before making a move. Oh, we just want to see when so-and-so gets back. We're just waiting for so-and-so to get healthy. We want to see what this roster looks like at full strength. Just wait. Oh shit, it's the end of the season and we're not in contention for anything. I think the clock is starting to tick very fast on what the Lakers will, when the Lakers need to make a decision, right? See, we were at the Thanksgiving was our first timeline, right? I think Chris Haynes then came out and gave an update, or it might have been, I don't know. It's a race now. Mark Stein, Chris Haynes, everybody's got, a little inside track on this Lakers time shot clock on when they need to make a move. When do you anticipate, with the talks of Schroeder and Thomas Bryant coming back on Friday, when do you anticipate we will get some type of next step in what we're going to experience as far as the Lakers season, if this is it or if moves are going to be made? What do you think? It'll take 10 games, 5 games? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the initial timeline we heard was somewhere around 20, 25 games. So that would put you post Thanksgiving, maybe into December. I would imagine we probably stick with that. You bring back Dennis Schroeder, you bring back Thomas Bryant. You want to know, is Kendrick Nunn able to contribute? If not, can Dennis Schroeder be that guy for us? Yes or no? Can Thomas Bryant log minutes at the center position? Yes or no? You probably want to give that at least 5, if not 10 games to kind of get a real sense of what you have there. And then you go from there. Then you start making some real decisions on the trade front. If something comes along before then that works, maybe they go ahead and pull the trigger. But I think they do want to evaluate what they've got at this moment. And then the challenge is, like Lakers fans have been saying since game 2
Yep.
Like, do a trade.
Yep.
Fix this right now, get this done. But around the NBA in general, this the unofficial start to the trade season is December 15th.
Right. It's December. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's when all the players who signed contracts during the offseason are now available to be traded, or at least the bulk of them are. So
Much bigger pool.
yeah, so that's the other thing. Like, we're looking at, all right, after Thanksgiving, and people are going to be thinking, oh, cool. So I'm going to do a little Black Friday shopping, and boom, we're going to get a Woj bomb that the Lakers made a trade. I don't know if that's going to be the case. In fact, I wouldn't shock me if they had to wait all the way until the middle of December to get something done. Like, if something comes along before then, great. But it's not just the Lakers making the trade. It's other teams around the NBA that have to be ready to do that too. And a lot of teams at this point are just starting to put out feelers, starting to get a sense of what's out there, and they're not ready to pull the trigger on stuff right now.
Speaking of feelers starting to get out there, Lakers fans almost started getting their pitchforks and tiki torches ready with Mark Stein's latest revelation, latest tease that the Los Angeles Clippers are potentially interested in Miles Turner. You know, not here for violence. I'm peace, love, and happiness out here. But just the reaction of the fan base if the Los Angeles Clippers swoop in and get Miles Turner. And it's not going to be for the equivalent of the Lakers' 2 first-round picks, right? It'll just be for some BS package to make the numbers work and whatever the Clippers could throw in to sweeten the deal. Trevor, how frustrated would you be with how the season's going? Let's say the Lakers are waiting to evaluate and expand and get some trades going with the full selection of movable players at the December 15th date. What would your personal reaction be if the Clippers don't wait until that time and they get Miles Turner? Is that a knock on the Lakers front office in your eyes if something like that happens?
I mean, it depends on what the deal is, right? If it's Robert Covington and a second round pick or something like that, then yeah, there's going to be frustration as far as that goes, because all we've heard is the Pacers drew the line in the sand, said, look, it's 2 firsts, unprotected, or nothing. No right. Deal, right? Weren't even willing to talk. Like, the Lakers were rumored to try to want them to toss in some seconds. And they wouldn't even do that, right?
They said F you, yeah.
So if it turns out being something like the way the Clippers got Norman Powell and Robert Covington, which is just Steve Ballmer was willing to pay their contracts, and so basically just had to give up expiring deals, and that was about it in order to get those guys from the Blazers. If it's something like that, there's going to be, then I could be frustrated with it. But if the Clippers have to give up a future first, some of their wing depth in order to get it done, I think that's where, while it would be frustrating for, of all teams, it'd be the Clippers to swoop in and grab the player, and the Clippers who are willing to pay the player, because you're going to have to re-sign Miles Turner. The Clippers being willing to just spend, whatever it takes. And Steve Ballmer has infinite money. While the Lakers are going to hold up at that point. But I also think if that's the case, if the Clippers have to give up significant assets, at least I can console myself with remembering that the Clippers are in a different spot right now. The Clippers have a team where they're just looking to add a little piece here or there, something to just kind of put them over the top. Whereas the Lakers, what they're looking for in a deal is something to make a big leap with. So if the Lakers don't see Miles Turner as a big leap forward, and I'm not saying he's not, but if the Lakers don't see him that way, the Clippers might see him as enough of an incremental improvement to get them where they want to go, where the Lakers can't see him getting that team where they want to go. So I think you'd have to remember the two teams are in different situations.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, especially with the Ivica Zubac's already there, and a lot of these wounds are self-inflicted that we're dealing with the Lakers, it would not go over well with the Lakers fan base. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, no, not at all. But like you said, the Lakers are waiting for that big swing, and I don't know how you feel about this. It's kind of been the Lakers' MO all along. They're big game hunters. Yeah. They don't hunt for little fish to marginally improve, and I think that's even when they are in contenders, right? Flipping. They're just flipping smaller pieces to trade for Russell Westbrook. And now you look at how Kuz is playing. Now you look at how KCP is playing. Now you look at that first round pick that went out the door, right? And you're like, shit. This is we could have used two of those right there.
Mhm.
Um, Jeez, I'm starting to get sidetracked, but I don't care. All right, so with the Bradley Beal rumors are are starting to sizzle with minimal water in the pot. It's just a couple drops in there that you hear sizzling when it hits the pan. Now we got Howard Beck talking about a GM telling him that he believes that Bradley Beal is most likely going to end up get traded for the Lakers, how he prefers to play for a California team. You got Chris Haynes talking about the Lakers covet Bradley Beal. And I'm just like, where the hell is this coming from? When did we get to a Bradley Beal blockbuster trade in a 3-13 season, Trevor? Like, I get it. I guess I get it. We're lifelong Lakers fans. This is just how the franchise rolls. It's
Yep.
either superstar names or F yourself, go. We're in the dark ages. But how much stock are you putting into a Bradley Beal Lakers blockbuster trade this season?
Not a lot, because I think it requires so many things to happen, and there's things that can happen, but think about what has to happen, right? So Bradley Beal so far, because we don't think enough about the other side of things oftentimes. So in order for the Wizards to be willing to trade Bradley Beal to the Lakers, you have to have a number of things occur. You have to have Bradley Beal has to make the decision, I'm going to request a trade from Washington. Finally, I'm done, right? We've been hearing this for years. He said, no, 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 I'm loyal. I want to
Right.
build this here, right? He's resisted forever. So we have to assume that suddenly he changes his mind and now he's decided this is the time and I want out. Okay, so that's first hurdle. Second hurdle, though, is the Lakers specifically need Bradley Beal to not only decide that he needs to leave Washington, but he has to decide that the only place that he is going to get to where he wants to go is in LA with the Lakers, and none of the 29 other teams are of any interest to him. Now, he does have a no trade clause. And so
Right.
that again makes that situation possible. If the Wizards say, hey, we've got a great deal lined up with the Boston Celtics, Bradley Beal can say, no, I don't want to be a Celtic. I'm using my no trade clause. This isn't going through. He can do that. He can force himself to one specific location. But the Wizards could also say, okay, well, then we don't want Russell Westbrook and a couple of first round picks 5 years from now. So we're just not going to trade you then. That's the flip side to that. Again, Bradley Beal has to request a trade. He has to demand it be specifically to the Lakers, because I think if he says, hey, I'd like to be traded, here's 5 teams,
Right.
chances are pretty good one of those 5 is going to beat the Lakers offer. If not, all 4 of those 5 are going to beat that Lakers offer.
You know what I'm saying? We wake up today on November 15th, year of our Lord 2022, and the number one team in the NBA is the Boston Celtics. And they still have assets to outdo a Lakers package for Bradley Beal. I think just the chances that the Lakers could make all of these stars align and Bradley Beal just puts blinders on. Hell, I mean, you might as well rumor that he's going to leave his agency representation and go join Clutch Sports. That is about the only way I would put real stock into a Bradley Beal Laker rumor. I think, like you said, we're starting getting into hashtag season,
Mhm.
rumor season, right? And this is crack cocaine for NBA fans, player movement. I don't know. We got to do better content than this, guys. We got to do better content than throwing us a Bradley Beal bone and making us all start to get free. I couldn't even read the article. I couldn't do it. I
I mean,
read the
I don't, I
synopsis.
don't, I don't think the Lakers would not explore it. I'm sure the Lakers would like to trade for Bradley
Sure.
Beal. It follows their MO. I think it's going to be a really tough path to get there. And look, crazy things sometimes do happen in the NBA, but it just you have to clear so many hurdles and so many things have to line up very specifically for the Lakers that it's going to be tough to do. But even look, we looked at it from the Wizards side. Flip it. Should the Lakers even do that? Because let's say you do that trade. Let's say you flip Russ and your first round picks and anything else that's not nailed down, and you go get
Right.
Bradley Beal. Then what? Then you've got AD, LeBron, Bradley Beal, and the rest of your team is veteran minimums. And isn't that exactly how we wound up right here in this place?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, Bradley Beal is a better fit than Russell Westbrook. There's no question there. But is getting him the path out of this, or is it just perpetuating the same mistakes over and over again? I tend to believe it's the latter, despite believing that he's a fantastic player, but I don't know that it's even as hard it is as it is to believe that the Wizards would do this or Bradley Beal would put himself in that specific situation. I'm not even convinced that it's the correct path for the Lakers.
Well, we know one thing for sure. Crazier rumors are ahead.
Absolutely. It's
That
never a
just
dull moment.
That's right. That is right. All right. Let's do a quick activity, Trevor. I always love to play the game when you come on. We're gonna do a little buy or sell. Right.
Sure.
I got a few. We're gonna keep the topics going about hashtag rumor season. First and foremost, the name that just keeps circling the box like a stalking X. Bojan Bogdanovic is now back up on the Lakers rumor mill. It's reportedly that the Lakers are still interested in the then Utah Jazz, now Detroit Piston. And he's having a fantastic year. A fantastic year by every measure. What he's doing 50, 40, 90 right now, shooting 41% for three. If that isn't manna from heaven, I don't know what is. Well, first of all, buy or sell that the Lakers are going to pull the trigger on a Boyan trade, and then just I don't know what would it take? Is this first just going to get held hostage for any good player out there? I know the Lakers are talking about they want to improve around the margins. Is this one good enough for a first in your eyes? And do you see the Lakers making the move, buy or
Yeah,
sell?
I'm gonna sell out of hope that that's what the Lakers will do because look, I mean, the Pistons just got Bogdanovich for Kelly Olynyk a month ago, right?
Right.
Not long ago. And so to flip him that quickly and suddenly get a first out of him, you're right. He's having a fantastic season. But here's my big problem: why, if the Lakers were going to make a move for Bogdanovich, he's 33. He's going to be 34 next year. If I'm the Lakers, if I'm giving up those future firsts, I want to know that whatever I'm getting, I will at least potentially have a chance to flip that player years down the road to get draft capital back. So if I have to go into a rebuild post LeBron, I can do that with a little bit more than just whatever of my own picks are left. And I don't think Bogdanovich fits that bill because of his age. I don't think you are going to be able, you're going to get the last of his basketball value most likely. So if I'm the Lakers, if there's a first involved, I'm not doing it despite how good Bogdanovich is and how great of a fit he would absolutely be.
But the 3-point percentage,
It's fantastic. He's a great shooter. If you can get it done for second rounders, okay, and I'm on board. He's great, but you can mitigate your concern for the future by making sure that whoever you do trade for, you are at least of an age where you could flip them conceivably moving forward. That's the way I'm approaching it. If I'm the Lakers, just to make sure that when the time comes and LeBron sails off into the sunset, I at least have some kind of an opportunity to give my rebuild a bit of a jump start.
That's fair. Next up, buy or sell. We got a few guys on the roster that's making paychecks but not earning paychecks. We got Mr. Kendrick Nunn is having a rough go at it, and I appreciate that he is accepting not a demotion at all. He's coming right back up, but he's accepting that he needs some extra burn going down to the G League, do a little practice scrimmage with Max Christie and the boys. And I think Max Christie's staying up. I think Schroeder's going down for a little tune up, right?
And Thomas Bryant as well.
And TB. Okay. Well, we got Kendrick Nunn. We got Juan Toscano Anderson. That seems like he's losing his rotational minutes. I'm not too sure. We're seeing less and less of him as the year goes on. We have Damon Jones, who I don't know technically if he's still in the state of California since the season started. That's how little I've seen of him. And then we have Thomas Bryant, who has been dealing with injuries, but that's kind of been the Thomas Bryant story the better half of 2 years now. So you got K Nunn, and then Patrick Beverley, fantastic defensive game yesterday, but everything else that we've seen so far, we've been left wanting more. So Kendrick Nunn, Patrick Beverley, Juan Toscano Anderson. Out of those guys, did I name someone else? I feel like I named one more guy. Maybe. Oh, and JTI. Patrick Beverly, Juan Toscano Anderson, Damon Jones,
Mhm.
and Kendrick Nunn. One of those guys will be traded before this season finishes.
Yeah,
Buy or sell.
I'd buy that. I'd buy that, especially, if the trade is not a Russell Westbrook trade, then if that's ultimately not the move the Lakers make, and even if it is, Patrick Beverly, Kendrick Nunn, you can stack up those two expiring contracts and you can get to a Miles Turner trade, you can get to a Buddy Hield trade by stacking up those deals. So yeah, I would buy that one of those guys at least is on the move before the season's over.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say. They need to this whole the more and more we're starting to hear about making the moves around the margins and role player depth. That kind of means some of those other guys might be on their way out the door. Final buy or sell question. The Lakers just posted some hashtag 6 man Brody content. It seems like they're all in on Russ being 6 man, empowering him to go for 6 man of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Darvin Ham is damn near in tears when talking about how proud he is of the man. Since coming off the bench, Russ is averaging 82 points per game and is first in the league in assists at 8.1. Trevor, buy or sell Russ being 6 man of the year this season, and will he finish the year in a Los Angeles Lakers uniform? I didn't even think this would be a possibility 6 months ago, but buy or sell.
So I buy it. If he's coming off the bench, who else around the NBA is going to put up numbers like Russ is coming off the bench? Nobody. So even if the Lakers aren't great, like he can have a great season coming off the bench. I buy that he can and very well probably should be the 6 man of the year. He's been performing much better than we saw last season. So that's been fantastic to see. Will he be on the Lakers roster? It's closer to a buy certainly than it was this past off season.
Yeah.
Where we thought, I mean, we didn't think there was any chance really that he was going to be coming back, and here we are. I'm going to still, I'll sell that he'll be on the roster at the end of the season because I still think ultimately, if the Lakers don't do something big this year, that puts them on a collision course with LeBron. That puts them on a collision course with
Mm.
AD, collision course with Clutch. And I don't think they're ready to go down that path just yet. I think ultimately they'll find some type of move to make. And my guess is that it will include Russell Westbrook. So I'm going to sell that he'll be on the roster at the end of the year.
And I think it'd just be even crazier if that next team took him off the bench and he actually did win 6 man of the year. Then
It,
everybody's laughing at the Lakers once again. But
it could
you never
could
know.
happen.
Yeah, it happens. Just like Russ being here, just happened, and everybody, including myself and everybody else, a part of Late Night Lake Show, had to eat crow on that. But it's all good. Russ is doing his thing. He seemed to regain his confidence and 3-point shooting confidence these days, and back to doing his poster dunks. It seems like he's always good for one of those every few months. So shout out Russ, do your thing, man. I just would love if we kind of flip the Russ has a great game, Lakers still lose pendulum, but the
Yeah.
Lakers are still losing whether he has a good game or not. So I guess 100% tied to him. All right, cool. A couple of just rapid fire questions, Trevor, and then I'll get you out of here. The boy from up the block, Mr. Max Christie. I call him grandson because he's from up the street. He is just he's starting to show Lakers fans why they selected him, at least giving the glimpses on the defensive end. Trevor, just talk to me a little bit about what improvements you're seeing in Max Christie's growth, just from what we saw in summer league to preseason to now. He's put on muscle. He
Mm-hmm.
looks bigger. His arms don't stop. That like this man's wingspan is pretty obnoxious how he is getting up for rebounds, and it doesn't seem like he has too crazy of a vertical when he's bringing the ball down. So just talk to me a little bit about what you see in Max Christie and his outlook for not just the rest of this season, but what type of player you think he could develop into.
Yeah, I think that we're starting to get glimpses where we didn't, over the summer of what the Lakers saw in Max Christie. Now, during the summer league, even during a little bit of preseason, he looked like a young player, right? I mean, he's 19 years old. He looked like you would expect a young player to look, where he was not comfortable out there on the floor. You could tell that the game hadn't really slowed down much for him. He was struggling to keep up with the speed, figuring out how to get off his shots. That was a very difficult thing for him. And I think what you're seeing now is, yes, he's physically gotten stronger and that's helped, but you can also see he's just getting more comfortable in the professional game and
Right.
understanding where his shots are going to come from, where they're not. Only took one shot last game, had 9 rebounds though. He's figuring out other ways to contribute and doing the little things defensively. And look, ultimately, this is what the Lakers want out of him, right? They want him to fit into that 3 and D archetype. And so far, I think we've got some promising results right now. Not that he's setting the world on fire or anything like that, but you're starting to see glimpses of exactly what it was the Lakers hoped he could be: a plus defender on one end of the floor and a guy who can be a spot up shooter on the other end that can make defenses pay if they aren't paying attention to him. And again, that part of his game is still developing. The offensive side still developing, but we've seen a lot of growth on the defensive side of the ball. And yeah, looking forward to seeing more out of him. But I think so far, we give this front office a lot of credit for being really good with their draft picks, for hitting on a lot of draft picks, particularly late
Yeah.
round picks. And if nothing else, we're starting to get that confirmation that, hey, there's something here. Whether he'll reach that potential, we don't know. But there's something here with Max Christie that can be developed, I think, into a real NBA contributor. It's not happening tomorrow. It will probably take a little bit of time.
Yeah, and shoot, I think the only sad part about that is, the Lakers are at a point in time where they're not really in the development business. They're in the let's win a
Mm-hmm.
championship tomorrow business or today business. So, I would love to see Max, the hometown kid, stick with the Lakers for a long time so we could see that 3 and D archetype develop. One thing that I just wanted to point out with Max is just how much of a disruptor he is as a help defender. He kind of closes down lanes really fast, and that one by just being able to have his head on the swivel, being aware of just man and ball at the same time, not letting his man cross his face, and then two, stepping into the passing lanes with those long ass arms, man. You could cover up some space pretty quickly. I love he has a nice understanding of verticality too when going up to contest the shot. Just all things you see in a player that clearly was brought up in how to play basketball in the game the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And the final point with that is folks, we think offense is everything. We think that's the only way you're gonna get into the league. Max Christie has never been an offensive demon at any
Mm-hmm.
level in his game, right? Not in Michigan State, not really in high school either. He was just a damn near amazing defender, and obviously a great scorer and slasher at the lower levels. But now you see that he is chosen and picked by a team for his defensive capabilities. They're like, we'll develop this offensive
Yeah.
side of the ball. So defense matters. All right, T. Last question of the night. I'll get you up out of here. Actually, no. Half question, then last question.
All right.
Is Lonnie Walker playing his way out of the Lakers being able to re-sign him next season? This is fantastic content that he is providing us this year. We're starting to get a little bit of Malik Monk vibes
Yep.
where the propaganda is getting to a point where like, I don't know if we'll be able to afford him. But real quick, just what you're loving about Lonnie Walker's game this year, and you think the Lakers might try to keep him around next season.
Yeah, Lonnie Walker and Troy Brown Jr. This is one of the things that's driven me crazy about the Lakers' choices in roster building is that they don't give themselves an opportunity to establish bird rights for any of these players,
Mm-hmm.
which would allow them to keep these guys and go over the salary cap. But basically, you're in a spot where if you have cap space and Lonnie continues to have a great season and Troy Brown has a great season, you're going to have to burn a good chunk of that cap space to keep them, and then
Yep.
that's going to prevent you from going shopping on the free agent market, or vice versa. You're going to lose them and then go shopping in free agency. So it's great to see him performing out there, and that's fantastic, but it's always in the back of my mind. Yeah, he could be playing himself out of a spot. The Lakers need him though. They need his scoring. 25 points last game. He's been tremendous. And look, there were a lot of people, myself included, who were questioning why the Lakers spent their taxpayer mid-level on Lonnie Walker, and I think so far he's done a lot to prove everybody wrong and show that he is well deserving of that, if not more. So credit to Lonnie Walker. He's been great, and hopefully something works out to keep him long term. I wish the Lakers would sign longer deals than just 1 year.
Amen to that, brother. Well, one real quick point about Lonnie Walker. You feel kind of that youthful
Yeah.
athleticism in him, and that's something that the Lakers really don't keep around on the roster. Russ is still, athletic in his own right with, still jumping and stuff. But Lonnie, you could kind of just see that all right, he's still got that freak in him, right, for his athletic capabilities, skying for dunks or rebounds and things like that. So the Lakers, when your superstars are about to be 38 and is already about to be 30, and Russ is in his he's in his mid 30s now. You gotta kind of keep them around some young dogs that want to do the dirty work game in and game out. Tuesdays in February get
Mhm.
real boring, right? Who's going to be kind of those youthful spark plugs to reignite some energy on the team? Kind of reminds me of Shannon Brown, but a better polished scorer than Shannon.
Sure.
All right. Last question of the night, T, get you up out of here. Do the Lakers have enough today to naturally, organically improve into a play-in team? I'm not even going to say a top 8 team, a play-in team, or in your mind, do roster improvements need to be made for them to get extra basketball in April?
So I wouldn't definitively say that they don't have enough to get there. I think roster improvements do need to be made. Ultimately, I think they need to get back to close to 500. If not to be 500, just in the Western Conference, that's where they're going to need to be to get into that playoff mix. And I'm not saying they can't get there as presently constructed, but there's just so many glaring weaknesses on this roster that need to be fixed that I'd feel a lot better about it if they fix those. Now, it's still look, if LeBron stays healthy, AD stays healthy the rest of the way, Russ continues to play well off the bench, you get some positive regression or progression to the mean in terms of the 3-point shooting that comes up a little bit. Lonnie Walker continues to pop, right? You get stuff like that happening. Sure, you can still get there by the end of the season. There's still a lot of basketball left to play, but I think
Right.
your likelihood of doing that goes up considerably if you can add in some pieces that simply fit better and give you a little bit of a talent boost. So, again, I won't say they can't make it, but it would be a lot more likely to happen if they were to make some kind of a deal. And I think they need to approach it as, hey, if we want to do this, if this is our goal, if it's we're dead set on at least making the play in, then I think they do need to make a move.
Are the Lakers going to trade those first round picks this season, Trevor?
I
Are
still
we
I think yes. I still
okay?
think it's going to happen. I still think it'll happen at some point. Again, I don't think they want to be at odds with LeBron and AD and Clutch and all that stuff just yet. And I think they probably did have some kind of type of agreement. Rob Pelinka kind of hinted at it that they would do everything they could to get this team where they want to go, where LeBron wants to go. I don't think they want to tell LeBron, hey, we're wasting one of your last seasons you have remaining, or however many seasons he has left. So I still think ultimately they'll pull the trigger on something.
And with that, we're going to call that a night. This has been an amazing episode. Thank you, as always, Trevor, for hopping on and talking Lakers with me. Obviously, we will hope and pray and wish and do whatever we can do at the end of the day so that the next time we connect, it's a lot more positive vibes here in Lakerland. But as always, my brother, thank you for coming on tonight.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, let's hope the next time the Lakers are close to 500 and we're excited and happy, and that's just a better world to live in. That's for sure.
That's right. America's team, the Los Angeles Lakers, voted number one sports team in America. Okay, Dallas Cowboys, they were like 6th or 7th, but it's the Lakers at the very tip top, and then there's everyone else. And the world is a better place when the Lakers are better. It's a scientific fact. Okay, so that'll do it for us on this episode of the Late Night Lake Show podcast. Again, thank you, Trevor Lane, for stopping by. Thank you to Manscaped again. Enter that promo code Late Night 20 at checkout at manscaped.com for 20% off. Appreciate you being on board as a new sponsor, and appreciate y'all for tuning in on YouTube and on the podcast and wherever you get your Lakers content. This has been Ricky from the Late Night Lake Show podcast. We'll see y'all on the timeline. Peace.